My music is saving me. My writing is saving me. My children are saving me. Little moments of beauty I have to search for. Like I have to look for them. And remind myself that all is not lost.
I'm Autumn Brown, front woman of the soul pop band Autumn, a queer science fiction writer, a theologian, a mother of dragons, and a healing justice facilitator for social movements living on Dakota and Anishinaabe land, currently known as Minneapolis.
And I'm Adrienne Marie Brown, a luscious, Black, queer witch writer auntie, an apocalyptic cosmic optimist, and a gardener of healing ideas. I live in the land of the Occaneechi, Shakori, Squirrura, Tuscarora, Eno, and Lumbee peoples.
And this is How to Survive the End of the World,
our podcast about learning from apocalypse with grace, rigor, and curiosity.
As a reminder, we have no ads. We are exclusively listener supported.
And y'all are the listeners, so thank you for supporting us so far. And if you haven't already, join our Patreon for exclusive content. Okay, I'm excited to get into our conversation today. As you all know, this season is all about revolutionary art and the revolutionary power of art. And today we're going to have two people on who are from my Durham community here, or based in my Durham community here. We're going to get into the journey.
Durham in the house.
Durham in the house. So our guests today are the multiple Grammy-nominated jazz singer Nnenna Freelon and her hip-hop artist son, Pierce Freelon, also Grammy-nominated, Emmy Award winner. Both are important and beloved members of the Durham community who have multiple ongoing and amazing projects unfolding. They make work together and they make work individually. And collectively, they have both made blessings and beauty, particularly from their grief. So we're going to be getting into all of that today. And we're going to start out just by checking in, landing into how are we doing right now in this very moment. Autumn, do you want to start us off like from the siege in Minnesota? Like how are things going over there?
I was going to say, don't start with me, but I can start.
Start it from the bottom.
Start from the bottom, and now we're here. Well, truly, I'm here. I'm phoning in, videoing in from the siege of Minneapolis. And, it's been a wild time. It's a wild, beautiful, terrifying time. It just continues to feel all of those things. Things have really escalated in the last few days, in part because, I think in large part because the resistance here has been so effective that the agents are continuing to escalate their tactics. And also because the climate is so extreme. You know, we're in this, some of the deepest cold that we've had in years. It's like 20 below overnight. And feels like 40 below with the wind chill. And so we're in kind of a window where we're going to have like about 60 hours straight where it's below zero. And I think that ice has consistently demonstrated that they can't handle the cold. And so I think they escalated a lot in the last couple of days to try to meet their quotas for abductions in the lead up to it getting as cold as it's gotten. And I'm in a lot of heartbreak right now. Like we've officially kind of reached the stage of the process where they're actively abducting children on purpose and separating families in really violent ways. And I think I've just been trying to teach myself how to be with the sensation that there is no end in sight for what's happening. And whether that's true or not, that's the feeling. The feeling is there's no end in sight. And that's a particular kind of like emotional, spiritual state. And so just trying to be with with despair, be with terror, be with inspiration. I'm really having to use all of my practices right now in order to figure out how to just continue feeling my aliveness inside of the kind of scale of what's happening. One of the things that's really getting me through right now is Mario Kart with my kids and my sweetheart. Like, we're kind of ending each night playing Mario Kart, and it's actually really helping.
Yay.
So that's
Do you have a favorite world?
I mean, I have to say, it's funny because every time we play the Rainbow Road, Mairead
Those
is
are
like
my favorite.
Adrian's
I love all the
favorite.
Rainbow Roads.
And I'm like, I can totally see why. I really love Rainbow Road. I really like the ones that I've really liked are anything involving like a canyon where you have to go underwater. So like Chaco Canyon, you know, those kinds of worlds, the really windy ones. I'm finding that I'm really, or like the ones that have like railroads.
I like that. I like the ones where it's like each part is different. You're not going, your loops are not like looping back through the same place. I'm like, no, give me a new world. Anyway, okay. Yay.
Give me a new world.
Thanks.
That's
sis.
how I'm doing.
I'm really glad that Mario and Luigi are there for you this time.
Yeah. And I play Toad every time too. So.
Oh, you're Toad? Oh.
I'm Toad.
I'm like Chrome Princess. Yeah, you're so Toad. Okay. Nnenna Freelon, how are you doing today, right now?
It's a harder question to answer moment to moment than one might think. I have given myself a fast from news and from social media bizarroness. And I'm checking in with my intuition to see how things are. And learning to trust its sturdiness. Are you okay? I have to ask over and over, but are you okay? Are your people all right? And wait patiently for the answer, because it ain't coming quick. My music is saving me. My writing is saving me. My children are saving me. Little moments of beauty I have to search for. Like I have to look for them. And remind myself that all is not lost. And sometimes it feels like hiding. Sometimes it feels like pretending. But my imagination wants better for this moment. But my intuition is telling me the walls are falling. And it hurts when the walls fall. Those who have loved the walls being up don't want to see them fall. So they export that pain onto us. They don't want to see it end, but it is ending. This so feels like ending to me. And I'm just trusting that endings make way for new beginnings. This crap has to end for a new to walk through the door. So I'm just trusting. I'm just trusting. And it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice. And I also trust that the news I need to know will come to me. And some things do not need knowing. That's hard for a sister because I have really been rewarded in this life for knowing shit. I've been like, I know.
Yes.
I'm the one.
I know. Yeah.
I'll raise my hand. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. That feels like good wisdom. Pierce, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I love Autumn. Thank you for your sharing that your choice is Toad, because Toad is often overlooked. Toad walks around with a mushroom on their head and is just a very cool member of the Mario universe.
Yeah.
I'm coming with at Black Space we do this thing called Come With. This is what this is reminding me of. I'm coming with some grounding today. I spent the morning at my kid's school doing a presentation about Martin Luther King Jr. and my dad. And I felt, and I was like sampling this Miles Davis performance where Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech about how important music is to movement and how important art is to movement.
The Reverend Doctor.
And I was kind of like sampling the speech and this Miles Davis beat with this room full of like fourth, third, second, and first graders.
And whenever a building is constructed, you usually draws a blueprint. Draw a blueprint. Architect who draws a blueprint. Architect.
And like, there's like a big picture of my dad up, and I was explaining his work as an architect and storyteller and dream weaver and history holder.
Do we want to just name your dad is Phil Freelon, who's the great architect, and we're going to ask you just both speak about him in a little bit. We want everyone to know about your dad too.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I came floating over here from that performance, and that kind of feeling entrenched in that ancestral power makes me feel very secure in this moment of uncertainty. You know, I don't feel that every day, but I definitely feel that after what I did this morning.
Beautiful.
Adrienne, how are you today, right now? In your cute little bonnet.
I am doing, thank you. I was like, I have not gotten dressed today. So I'm like, I'm like, it's cozy. I'm being cozy right now. And I'm feeling really sweet. We just had, I have my goddess crew of women that I went to college with that have stayed in touch with each other. And today it was a goddess birthday. And so we got on for a little, just to do a surprise Zoom call with her. And we pulled it off. And so that I'm filled with the sweetness of friendship there, and just reflecting on how important friendship has been in my life, and like what a saving grace it is. And as I'm writing this book on love, like what keeps emerging is friendship. Friendship is at the forefront of all love. And I'm in perimenopause, and it's getting more and more severe and dramatic each day. It's like, girl, no, you can't. It's not a little bit. It's a lot. Like I wake up every morning just like, I can't breathe. It's too hot. And I literally keep like going and being like, did I leave like the heat on, or like what is happening? And then I wake up and I'm like, nope, that's all me. I'm generating this amount of heat. And more than ever before, I'm humbled by my connection to being like an earthling, because I'm like, this is an earth thing. This is an earth process I am like a planet right now, and I am heating, and I am molting, and I am transforming. And if we don't cool it down, something might go extinct. I don't know, but like everything is changing so much. And I am deep bows to the generations of women who have gone through this without space to talk about it. Like without I feel like I'm part of why I bring it up everywhere I go is because I'm like, I want to keep making more room to talk about it. Cause like, this is a trip. It's not a game, and everyone needs to know it's coming when it's coming for you. And like, if you are in any community or relationship with anybody who goes through this, you need to understand what it is and how it works, because it changes everything.
Truth in the truth.
And then Autumn, being the auntie who's not in Minnesota, but watching and feeling from here, is just a continuous spiritual practice. It's a continuous activating practice. And this week, I think we talked about this, but when I saw the news that the 2 teenagers had been grabbed and I saw their ages, I thought of your babies, our babies, and it just grabbed me like from inside out. And I was crying. I was like, I just had a full reaction as if it was them. I was like, this is them. I just had a feeling. And then as the grief kind of moved, and I was like, that's not them, but it's somebody's children. And like for somebody, they're not going to have the relief of like, oh, it's not my children. And for so many people, that anticipation of harm is just this constant state, that terror. And I just, again, deep bows to, there's just so many people living in anticipatory terror and grief right now, like outside of what's happened. It's like there's what we're grieving for, all that we have lost. And then there's this experience in the body that I think it's going to take us a long time to alchemize. this new experience that is so having this many people experience it at once. This many people feeling like, oh, I'm afraid for this reason. I'm afraid because of immigration. I'm afraid because of my trans body, because of my Black body. I'm still afraid for my Palestine body. For like, there's just so many people right now. And we're supposed to learn to harness this fear into something. And I see us doing that. But I'm like in my body, I'm really feeling like the process, like what does it take me to move this fear into action? What does it take for me to move this fear into art? What does it take for me to move this fear into the new world I'm trying to co-create?
Yes. Thank you for sharing. And I just want to maybe to land this a little bit and to transition us. I think it's so important to be doing that somatic spiritual work that you're doing, because one of the things that I think it's not alarmist to say, like one of the things that really is true about what's happening here in Minneapolis is like, yes, like immigrant populations are who is being targeted, but also there's a much bigger strategy that's unfolding that's about acclimatizing everyone in the country to a loss of rights.
Yes.
And getting people acclimated to the idea of that people could get snatched off the street. So we know it's not going to end with the groups that are specifically being targeted.
Yeah.
And as we are all Black descended / Black people on this call, so we already know that, you know, that we've been inside of the flow of this exact kind of terror for hundreds of years in this country. This is just like a new iteration of it. And so I think that processing that you're doing of like processing the terror into action, processing the terror, metabolizing it into creative work is like exactly the work that we all have to be doing so that we can be, you know, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Like that is part of our preparedness for the way things are going to continue to unfold.
I agree. And I really think particularly as artists, you know, part of why we want to do this whole season with artists is because I think for good artists, for relevant artists, this is what we're doing. This is what we figure out pretty early in life is like, I feel this world and I have to respond. I have to sing on behalf of it. I have to activate the people around me to see what I see and feel what I feel. And I have to touch the place in them that is feeling and is scared to feel. It's amazing how often when I feel that total terror, what pours through me is like a medicine song. What comes after is like, oh, right, this is all part of it. And this is the medicine and this is going to get us free. So I want to name, we've had this tarot card practice and I pulled a tarot card for us today that is just on time. And of course, right on time, because that's how my tarot cards work. Today, I pulled it from Grandma Baby's Black Gold Lenormand deck, which is from Grandma Baby's Apothecary. And it's just it's a tiny little, I mean, like the cards are like the size of my palm.
Yeah.
They're so small.
They do.
But the card I pulled today was Altar.
Ooh.
And I'm going to send a picture of it. Maybe we can use it as the image, you know, part of the image for the post.
Oh, yeah.
But it says altar and the description says the keyword is alignment. And it says altar is a card of walking hand in hand with your ancestors, which brings, I know, right? I was like, you guys,
you can't make this up. Already. You can't make it up.
I'm like, okay. Which brings the added benefit of being more aligned with yourself. Trusting spirit opens you up to beautiful opportunities without knowing all of the answers, without allowing the fear to hold you back. Take a step forward and find yourself fully supported. This card can be a reminder to build or tend to your altar or signal the presence of a loving ancestor near you.
You better say that for the people at the back of the room.
I was like, okay, Phil Freelon, welcome to the conversation.
Welcome to the conversation.
Yes. And so I hope everyone listening is also just take a second and feel for which of your beloved ancestors might also be here for this conversation and wanting you particularly to hear it. And that's the way we'll move forward into it. Yeah. Hoo-wee. Yes. Oh, I love you, sister. So we're going to start off with a question about the moment of realization. I want to have you both share with us, what was the moment you realized you are an artist for these times? Starting with Nnenna.
Yikes.
We're going to start with you, often. You were the cutest person.
I don't know that there was a moment. I think there were flurries, flurries of moments that kept pecking me on the shoulder, that I had excuses for why, no, that's no. I live in nowhere, USA. I want to sing, but so what? You're not in LA. You're not in New York. You got 3 little kids. Your life is sort of, I had to reach for my grandmother, who is now an ancestor. And she said to me, bloom where you're planted. That statement took away all my excuses for the narrative that I had built in my head of how an artist was born or how an artist moved in the world. You got 3 kids, you got a husband, you living in Durham. There's a lot you don't know. There's a space between what you desire and what you aspire to. And in that space is all the work you need to engage with. Bloom where you're planted. Don't look for the excuse of this or that needs to be in alignment in order for me to be. She said, basically, just be. A rose doesn't say, darn, I sure wish I could be over there.
This dirt
right
show
here.
is soggy.
This dirt is soggy. I ain't getting enough. And what's up with these prickly things on my legs? No. Just be. Unfurl in the way that roses do. And I think that has been an unfolding it just has been an unfolding in my life. And what it caused me to realize is that children and being married and I had to learn on the altar of being placed here that all is possible. That you incorporate the life that you have. You toss nothing away. It's all good juju. You sing to your babies at night. They are your first audience. And they're very critical, these children. They're very critical. I mean, they just will tell you the truth if it ain't happening.
Stop singing, mommy.
Stop singing. Stop. It doesn't go like that.
Ew.
It doesn't go like that. I'm singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. They're like, did you write that? I was like, yes, I did. I did. And then later they're like, you didn't write that. That's from The Sound of Music. You didn't write it? It was like, well, I kind of sort of made it up. Okay. But I'm just saying that everything that happened, that occurred after I gave myself permission to be, was built on the life that I saw, right in front of me, and it was all fodder. I'm a different artist than I would have been if I had siloed myself in conservatory and studied all of the things and got really good at the things. I had to think about what I sang because I envisioned my daughter in the front row. So am I really going to sing a song about my man don't love me and he treats me terrible, but I love him anyway because he smells real good? Oh. I mean, really? Do you want to just kind of like, no. So it all was in a bowl of what my life contained and continues to be. So I'm 70 in July. And amazing. I am, okay, wow. I feel like I'm going to kick 70 in the door for one thing, but I have permission. You talked about perimenopause.
Yeah.
That's burning up the bullshit.
That's
what it is. Ooh. It's like,
thank you.
You gotta sweat it out.
I feel sweating it out. I feel purified. I feel like I'm purifying.
I am a funeral pyre.
Yes.
For them tings.
Title of the episode.
That's it.
I was like, wow.
For them tings, you don't need no more.
I got to write notes. Okay. Pierce, what about you, my love?
Woo. Isn't she nice to listen to?
She is.
And you should have met her mama. Like, she was such a character. And so
What was her name?
Her name was
Queen
Mother Frances Pierce.
Period.
Yeah,
Period. Yeah.
Queen Mother Frances Pierce.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
She was, like my mom on 10. And, it was kind of hard not to feel at least comfortable in my art from a very young age, being surrounded by women like that, and my dad and my great grandfather, just kind of surrounded by art. But I think one of the key moments for me was when my dad was diagnosed with ALS. I had been an artist for many years and was doing my thing creatively, but I did have a moment, I did have a dawning in my consciousness at that time. It was interesting. I was doing a lot of archiving and reaching into my old hard drives and phones, really to show my dad, like, oh, remember this Christmas? Remember this, family vacation? And a death for me really sent me down that Sankofa journey of like looking back and trying to bring those gems back to my father, who was on the verge of leaving this plane of existence. And in that looking back, I found a lot. I found a lot that I had not been paying close attention to, mostly voice memos in my phone. Like as a parent, I would often freestyle jingles about things like buckle your seatbelt or brush your teeth, that lived on my phone, but never were developed into, songs or anything like that. And it was at that time during my dad's transition period, while searching for gems to put a smile on his face, that I discovered like a treasure trove of like 98 song ideas that were just kind of, plopped into my consciousness, went into my phone, and then I moved on with my life. And, it's so funny. I was thinking about this the other day because of, I can't remember the sister's name, the Dr. Pepper baby is good and nice. I don't know if you've heard of this person. It was like a viral video of a person who did like a Dr. Pepper jingle, and then it got picked up by Dr. Pepper.
Oh, really? She got paid?
Oh, she just got like 2 million bands.
I love it.
For this jingle, but it sounded very much like one of these, like a song idea that you wake up in the middle of the night and you spew onto your phone. And I'm just like, yeah, that creativity, that connection to God, that like channel to, purposeful creative power is like, it's so normal. It's like a normal part of our day. And the silence and the slowness that my dad's transition brought into my life kind of encouraged me to look at just the normal gems that were sitting all around me and picking those up and clustering them into an album. And then my second album is when I got my first Grammy nomination. And, it was those songs that I discovered doing the archiving during the time of his transition. Wow. And, for everyone listening, I'm sure we all have doodles in the corner of our notebook. We have journal entries. We have voice memos. We have these gifts that are pouring out of us often. And just knowing that you have access to that brilliance at all times, I think is something that more people would benefit from tapping into and seeing what else is there. That's what I did. And that was a really powerful turning point for me as an artist.
Let me just tell you about this child. He was born an artist. Okay.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe you have another story.
He was born an artist. Okay. How about he had, how kids have imaginary friends?
Oh.
How about Pierce had JC, Michael, Gerald, Willie, John, JJ, Adam, and Peter.
Yeah, 7.
Imaginary boys band?
That's what I just saw.
I thought they were real. I thought they were people. Real people at preschool for the longest time. because he would come home with stories about what John did, or JJ, or Peter and Adam were doing this and that and the other. And he also had a way with language. Like, those things when you walk in the woods that stick to your burrs, that stick to your, well, he called them spiky rikes.
Spiky rikes. I remember that.
And because he had parents who were artists, we were like, show you right. Those are spiky rikes. Mm-hmm. We do not acknowledge and not in agreement with our children when they creatively do things or say things or are in certain relationships. We say, no, that's actually called a blah, 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 and we'll give the Latin name. But they were, when he said spiky rike, I was like, that's exactly what that is. He was 3 years old, and he directed us all in a play about the twimens and the women's with an S. And he turned the lights on and off. He had us jumping off of chairs. He had us, all of that gave him permission to be, creative with language, creative with, to have your father, crouch in a corner and be a twimmen while your sister, he directed us. Yeah. And so you give, I think all children start in this powerful place that we chip away at over time until by the time they're 7, they don't believe in their imaginary selves. They don't trust their intuition. They don't venture out to be the artist that Goddess, ordained them to be. And then they have to remember. Now, many of us are adults trying to go back and get that stuff that we used to know, but forgot, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we can get it, and sometimes we get confused because we're like, but is it going to make money if I'm an artist? As soon as you go to the auction block and worry yourself with whether it's going to pay you with dollars, you done messed up. You done messed up because art belongs in a different realm. And you can censor yourself or change art into commerce or into some other kind of stuff that's not art in your quest to get paid. If you just show up and are obedient, that's why the Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice. Why? Not just because it sounds nice, but because most people are not blessed because they don't show up. You have a dream. You have a dream at night and you're like, oh, I can't remember my dream. Well, get yourself a pencil and put it on your nightstand. Write it down. Talking to your phone. You do everything else with your phone. You be scrolling on Instagram. Why don't you talk to yourself? You wake up at 3:00 in the morning, get a glass of water, go to the bathroom, and don't understand that the creative universe has just sent you a gem.
That's right.
And you sleeping on it.
Literally.
And I just want to add to that and say, like, when you monetize that, it almost reduces it because its value is infinite, and a monetary lens puts a number on a thing that is infinity. And
it shrinks it.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, I think the purpose of art is healing. And sometimes you can make money doing that, but if you don't, at least you get the healing, Well,
that's my grandmother would say, what happens to us is none of your business. So that's not your business. She didn't say, don't worry about it. She said, it's just not your business. So if something is not your business, turn away from that and keep rowing the boat. Keep being present. And I think when we start, trying to make it into something that's popular or something that's, we can monetize, we're talking about something different already.
I love that. I really love that. I feel like that's true, not just for artists, but like all humans, right? It's like your being is not meant to be on an auction block. It's not meant to be assessed. Monetized. It's not meant to be monetized. Yeah. You're supposed to just be. Thank you for that wisdom.
You both have called in already several of your blood ancestors in your family lineage. And Adrian and I would like to hear from you about some of your creative ancestors. Like if you could each talk a little bit about an artist that you have felt inspired by in relationship to your work, like someone that you would sort of see, I'm in the artistic lineage of this person.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dr. Maya Angelou, she was a family friend from the time I was 15. And so our daughter Maya is named for her. She was an inspiration before she was super duper famous. She was just a presence. She was a force. And she and my mother were from the same part of the world, Arkansas, same age. They even looked alike, I think, a little bit, don't you think? Mm-hmm. And so my mother ushered this woman into my life who I called Auntie Maya. And she had a presence that created, it was like an aura that surrounded her. You knew she was someone. Mm-hmm. And she was on her way to being multiple humans. She had several accents that she would employ. So that's part of my, what I've learned from her. I can jump on an accent. Code switch, baby. Yes. And even if you didn't know who she was, you knew she was somebody. Mm-hmm. And so that ordinary, extraordinary way of walking through the world, I soaked up like good juice from her. And then as she became the Maya Angelou that we know and that we love, I had her as a real auntie in my life. I'm so grateful. Wow. So grateful for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Auntie Maya. Ooh, we're naming all the ancestors today. Yeah, I want to name Octavia Butler. I mean, Adrian and I have connected about Octavia many times, and before I was introduced to her work, I was always a big science fiction fan. My parents really, when they first met and connected, like one of their first, this is before I was born, but the family lore is that they fell in love over Dune, the book. And so,
okay, that is very romantic.
Isn't that cute?
Oh, yeah. We still have the original. When I said, what do you like to read? And he said, Dune. I was like, no way. Dune.
You're my man now.
Frank Herbert.
Over here.
Now. You.
Come on over. You. Tall guy.
Yeah.
Sexy
here.
Worms.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Listen. So my world was always, it's fear is the mind killer. And there was just this lore around science fiction. And then discovering Octavia Butler and seeing Black folks reflected through the lens of this science fiction universe really just expanded my mind. And my favorite book of hers is Wild Seed, and I've read it multiple times. And I just find her work so fascinating and interesting. And I make music, children for kids. My books, my albums, most of them recently, even the freeze dried ice cream, pretty much everything that I'm into is
Wait, you just said freeze dried ice cream like everybody else knows what that is. As someone who has tasted the delicious freeze dried ice cream, can you just break down for people what
Would you break
it
it down?
Oh yeah. So I started a company called Coco Fro. It is a freeze dried ice cream company, and we make dairy free freeze dried ice cream right here in Durham. We just bought a new production facility, my wife and I, downtown, down the street from Golden Belt. And we'll be opening a brick and mortar soon. But yeah, it is space ice cream. If you've ever been to the Science Museum, you've had astronaut ice cream. It comes in the little silver package. It's kind of crispy, but it melts in your mouth. It's really, really yummy. And, when I think of space ice cream in an Octavian future, it's like, I'm thinking about the doomsday bunker that we're going to need to build, an acorn, and we're going to need food that's non-perishable. And we want it to be lactose intolerant because a lot of Black people are, and we like to taste nice things. you know, even with our dietary restrictions. So, you know, I see Octavia as one of the big influences of all of everything that I create, the puppet shows, the ice cream, the, you know, storytelling that I do is through an Afrofuturist Black creative lens. And, you know, the queen matriarch God person of that universe for me is Octavia Butler.
Absolutely. Isn't it interesting how come trueiness is just like come trueiness. It's like, so, you know, and science fiction as a genre, you know, there's sort of the white male, you know, conquer the universe in the same way that you conquered the earth kind of stories, which never interested me. But I've thought about why science fiction, finding ourselves alive in full color, in, you know, making it, doing it, you know, still there in a distant time in the future was heartwarming to me in a world in the 60s and the 70s where we questioned whether we would survive. So having to leave Nancy Drew and other stories that didn't include us and go off planet to find ourselves was what drew me. You know, you would listen to it, you'd read a story, you'd be 3 chapters in before you realize that the person that was doing all these things, the character was actually a person of color. They may have had spots or scales or whatever, but their differentness didn't prevent them from being heroic.
Yeah. You needed those stories. Well, and so I want to actually go back to that 60s and 70s young Nnenna time for a moment, because I want to understand the journey that brought you to Durham. So I know your life didn't start in Durham, North Carolina, but now both of you feel so woven into the fabric of this place. But I wanted to understand where you came from and why Durham, why the South?
Well, I am a person who had an up South kind of, people are like, oh, you were born in Boston. Yes, that's true. But I was raised in a community of Southerners. So people were from Alabama and Georgia and Texas, and they were all coming up north looking for greater opportunity. My mother and father included. There was nothing for them on the farm. There were no opportunities other than sharecropping or, you know, living a life, you know, of terror in those places. Little did they know there was plenty of good terror in Boston.
Boston.
But perhaps more opportunities in some ways. And so when they came up north, this whole great migration, they brought with them their food traditions and their worship traditions and all of these things. So I really grew up in a community where there was snow, yes, where there was knishes, but also collard greens. You know, where there were you know, homemade cannoli and, you know, sugar cake that the lady next door, and some West Indian immigrants who had that whole other, you know, Pan-African curry goat, you know, the whole thing. When summertime came, my parents wanted us to come south so that we could understand from whence we had come. So I came to Eastern North Carolina, to Halifax County, to Scotland Neck, to reconnect with my roots, as they say. And so I had a connection to North Carolina through my great-grandfather who was still on the farm when I was young. And so there was a tortured kind of complicated, you know, we love the land, we're scared of the land, you know, there's trauma, there's joy, there's all the things. And when it was time for me to look at grad school, early 20s, I wanted to come back to North Carolina. So I applied to UNC Chapel Hill. When I met Phil, after that, it was chasing him, to be honest. I told my mother it was grad school. But once I met him, it was like, that's a wrap. That's that man. That's the one.
Mm. Wow.
So I love that. And Pierce, have you ever felt moved to wander from the South?
Never.
Wandered.
I've wandered, but never would. I always knew I wanted to plant roots and build a family here. I went to Syracuse for grad school. I lived in LA briefly, traveled all over the world, and Durham is my home. It's such a sacred, beautiful, Black, queer, powerful place.
Really?
I love it.
That's the right answer. Never leave. So I want to take some time now to talk about Mr. Phil Freelon. And I know I moved here after he had passed. I didn't get to overlap with him, but his imprint is everywhere here. Spaces, stories, legacies. And so I wanted to ask you all, I'm speaking of Nnenna, your soulmate, and Pierce, your beloved father. I know that losing him rearranged everything in your lives. And so I wondered if you could tell us what we should know about him and a little bit about the subsequent process of making the Ancestors album and the heart-opening puppet show and just all the work that has flowed from that space. And then, Nnenna, we're going to have a separate question just about your book. So
okay.
You can hold that piece or you can reference it. But
okay.
Yeah, we were like, we want to do it in little pieces. So
sure. Yeah.
Tell us about Mr. Phil.
Oh, yeah. Wow, what a great guy.
Such a great guy.
And still a great guy. I mean, I feel his presence daily. And my dad was an architect. He was a basketball player. He was, drummer. Great sense of humor, very funny guy, fisherman. I was just looking at his big bass trophy when I was grabbing equipment to set up for this call.
Wow.
Like his fish is still in there. And he was just a beautiful human being and a wonderful parent. And, he was his creative practice was expressed through his architecture. He was a nerd about buildings and natural light and structure and materiality. He loved that stuff since he was a kid. He loved it. And, he's designed so many wonderful buildings and structures. This morning when I was speaking to the kids at my children's school, in the lower school, I showed a couple photos and name this image. And we were looking at Freedom Park, which is the first Black memorial for Black culture in the history of the state of North Carolina on state grounds.
On state grounds.
Yeah, they don't have any state monuments for Black folks in North Carolina until Freedom Park a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And so the kids were like, "Ooh, yeah, that's so cool." And we talked about the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, which we had just read a picture book about. And then the one that got all the kids going crazy was the Durham Bulls Athletic Park, which is like our local baseball team. They were like, "Oh, yeah." So dad was an architect. He loved building structures. And I feel like, my dad had this really cool quote that I think really epitomizes his relationship with you. So this might be a good segue for you to talk more about him. But it's not a quote that he came up with, but it's one that he said often, and I thought was a very poetic representation of his relationship with my mom, which is architecture is frozen music. And I always love that quote because, when I think of, frozen, it's just a state of being. They're both water, just in different states. And thinking of my dad's craft as a different state of my mother's craft was always a fun way to think about different ways you can take your gifts and breathe life into them in different ways.
Wow.
He was he loved music too.
Oh yeah.
In fact, he visits me through music. Like I'll have a playlist on and then some random tune that doesn't belong on the playlist will come and I'll know it's him. It would be some Lionel Richie jam, Zoom, or something.
Earth,
I know
Wind,
it's
Fire,
James
Earth,
Wind,
and
Fire. It'll be
Temptations.
Something. So Phil wanted very much to be a father. Now, I don't suggest this to any men who may be out there trying to shoot their shot. Don't start with "I want to be a father." That is not sexy to women. I'm just telling you. I hung in there because he had other qualities that I greatly admired. He wanted children.
I feel like I should leave the room.
So look, he succeeded, Pierce. That's why you're here.
Let the women talk.
Listen,
you can handle it.
I'm just saying. And fathering in a very real way was his greatest design project.
Yeah.
Shaping humans with love, attention, care, openness,
humor,
kindness, humor. He was all of that. And I realize now, as he died from ALS at 67, that had we not started our family early, he would have had to leave children.
Yeah.
But as it worked out, they were young adults. They were all married. They were able to help usher him into his next part of the journey. And he got to see and meet all of his grandchildren. So who knew that was a part of the big plan? No one knew that. But looking back in the rearview mirror, now it makes a whole lot of sense that, when I was in my young 20s and my compadres were executives at Gillette and working on this great thing. And I was like, diapers, this one's potty trained, so it really provided some perspective in the way my life, you couldn't have understood it when you were in it, but looking back, it makes a lot of sense.
That's beautiful. And can y'all speak a little bit about Ancestors?
Yeah. Ancestors was a album that Mom and I released in 2023. It was nominated for a Grammy in 2024. This is an album of songs about our ancestors, about grief, about loss, about growth and transformation. It's a beautiful intergenerational project. My daughter Stella is also on that album, and it was a love note to Dad for sure, but also to all of our ancestors, and gave the purpose of the record. It was a children's music record. It was to offer younger audiences some tools to start having discussions about grief, to help start having discussions about loss. And it developed into a puppet show with paper hand puppet intervention in the summer of 23. And Adrian came and witnessed the show.
Magnificent.
So
it
fun.
Really, I was like, I didn't know that I was sleeping on the puppet show situation. And then I was like, wait, why am I crying so hard? Because this little puppet is coming to hug me right now. I'll never forget when that puppet came into the audience, and it comes like it's hugging, and you're just like, I feel so held and loved, and everything was just so collaborative and beautiful. Anyway, I'm gushing, but yes, go on.
Well, by the way, exclusive announcement that they really want to work with you on a show. So I'm just saying.
They absolutely
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I'll connect you after. Yeah. Shout out to Paper Hand Puppet Intervention. They're absolutely wonderful.
We want to be a part of whatever you may do, though. Listen, I just want to say.
Oh, okay. Seeds all planted.
Seeds
all planted. I need this.
That's
Thank you.
Yeah.
And there's some magical thing about puppets. I don't know what it is. They're larger than life. They're like, 10, 12 feet tall. And they float. And we become... We just agree. We're all in agreement that this is real.
Yes.
And we use puppets in protest moments and other moments, big heads and arms that move slowly. And we can see the little people holding up the poles, but we agree that they're not really there.
Yes.
That it's the puppets that's real. And so we become our childlike selves in such an amazing way. I don't know that happens. Sometimes you got to convince in theater. It's like, no, believe me, I'm really this character. Believe it, believe it, believe it.
Right.
But puppets got you going right away.
But you know what I think? You know what I think it is partially? I think these are puppets. These things that we're moving through,
puppet flesh,
our bodies, and our spirit guides and ancestors, and the energies around us are the things helping nudge us. If you're obedient enough to listen to their guidance, then to go back to the show, there's mycelial connections to those ancestral realms that inform how we move in the world. And that show was very much inspired by your work, Adrian, talking about mushrooms. And that's why I said Toad was the nigga.
Toad is the man. Toad is the toad.
It's my guy.
No, there's literally, and maybe we'll add this when we post this. There's a song that has a mushroom as like main character energy that I think it kind of got me through that year. I lost a dear friend that year, and it was just like, oh, right. Mushrooms, mycelium, like nothing is gone. Everything's still here. And, anyway, it makes me cry to think about that little mushroom. But yeah, thank y'all.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, so speaking of music, Nnenna, you have this new album that came out last year, jazz album, Beneath the Skin. And I could see on your website that you also simultaneously released a book called Beneath the Skin of Sorrow, Improvisations on Loss. And I saw these notes about how you were working with improvisation as a part of, it sounds like both the process of making the album and as a part of the process of like being with your grief, moving your grief, writing from grief. And I mean, I just felt so, as an artist who really relies on improvisation in order to write, I felt so just like immediately hooked by just knowing that about you. And I was wondering if you could just speak a little bit to, obviously as a jazz vocalist, I imagine you're really steeped in improvisation anyway, but then it sounds like something different unfolded for you around this particular project. And I'm wondering if you could just give us a little window into
I thank you so much for this profound question. It's a little complicated. The Beneath the Skin album is my first album of all original music. And that is a little unusual in the jazz realm. We cover tunes, right? We cover American Songbook. We do tunes that have been done over and over and over again. This is all original music. And so that was a departure, something Pierce has been nudging me to do for years. But this music was the only music that I had available to me. That's all the muse gave. The muse gave me that. Swing low and gather all your precious dreams. Listen to the stars, they call your name. Questions cloud your skies above. Answer yes, go with love. Steal far away, journey of the heart. When we say the word grief, we think it means sadness and sorrow and tears and this, and it can also mean that. It can totally mean that, and it can mean joy, but it's all the work that you do when you have loved.
Oof. Say it again.
Oof. All the work you do when you've loved. It's love work.
Yeah.
Yes.
They say dig where your tears fall. Oh yeah. That's where the work and the love is. And so decolonizing grief from where we have placed it in the Western culture was what that was about. And Beneath the Skin of Sorrow is also about excavating what's under, because we know what's on the surface, right? We're all at the funeral. especially in Black churches, weeping and wailing and performing and flinging over the casket and hollering and just the whole thing, right? We do that. We do it. But what else is there? When the flowers have died and you're alone in your home and your beloved is not there, and or you something comes across your brainstem and you really, really miss the physical presence of that person, what do you do with that space? What is underneath that? And what I found is, that commercial that says, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
There's always more. There's giggling. There's ridiculousness. There's irony. There's serendipity. There's stupidity. There's goofiness.
Yep.
There's all the things if you let them in.
Yeah.
And if you say dead and gone, that's true too. Because the universe only agrees with you. You're like dead and gone. Universe is like, well, okay. If you insist.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying that this improvisational thrust is true for all. Because I do believe some people are truly resting. They're like, look, it was rough down there. Y'all done worked the sister. Sister resting. Don't call my name. Don't leave me alone. Leave me alone.
I don't need no altar.
I don't want no altar. Don't call me. Don't burn no incense. Put that sage down. Put it down. Put the sage down. Don't call.
Stop calling my line.
Stop it. Leave me alone. And then other people are like, yo, if you had only asked, I'd have been right there with your sister. But we have help we don't acknowledge or we don't ask for. Spiritual currency that we just bypass because we think it's not available. So calling on those healed ancestors, and I do say healed, because we have some unhealed ancestors. Everybody got a Tyrone or two. Let them rest.
Even have a chat.
That's right, a chat. Let them rest until they get it together. I'm just saying. So, the improvisational availability is there. It's giving yourself permission to go with that. So for the book, Beneath the Skin of Sorrow, I wrote from a jazz musician's perspective. There are 4 containers, 4 bowls: Round Midnight, Stolen Moments, A Love Supreme, and Time Traveler. And each of those bowls hold poems and recipes and stories and reflections and meditations around those feelings in my life. It's not a chapter book. It's kind of like a book you can flip to any page.
Yeah.
You vibe with it. You don't vibe with it. It's all cool. It's all cool. Yeah. And it's the book I wish I had, because I could not read. When Phil first died, I couldn't read. My eyes wouldn't track, and I couldn't. Much as I love reading, I couldn't. And it was COVID too. I couldn't. I needed just a little small sip, just a sip of something, just a thought. The Bible wasn't working. The Quran wasn't working. None of the great texts, the transcendental meditation, none of that stuff that had served me well in the past was working. But just a little thought that I could ruminate on, that was helping me get through it. So I wrote the book I wish I had.
Wow.
That's what Toni Morrison said to do. Don't see it.
Don't see it. You must create it.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you, for sharing him with us and for speaking on it. I'm grateful again, just as like we're living in a world where more and more of us are speaking about menopause. I'm actually so grateful that more and more of us are speaking about grief and the technologies of grief, and that everyone you meet, every adult you meet especially, is grieving someone. And it just helps to actually bring them into the conversation and let them be present with us. Like you can see the joy and how much you love Phil, how present he still is with both of you. Yes. And like, what a gift, Yeah. We wanted to ask you, before we get into culture, what's next for each of you in your creative journeys? Both, do you have anything else planned together? Are you working on stuff independently? Is there anything you haven't mentioned a different kind of ice cream.
Well, yeah, I'm my creative world is kind of building out this kind of sci-fi Black-centered children's universe. Coco Fro is a part of that. My music catalog from Ancestors to my album before that, which was Black to the Future, and the one before that, DAD. Like, I'm trying to create almost like a Studio Ghibli, like Miyazaki, Octavian Reading Rainbow universe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And there's gonna be like a web series called Space Cowgirl. There's a Coco Fro. There's a book about lactose intolerant. I'm flirting with the title Gas Giant. It's just a space book about hey.
I love it.
Yeah, with an accompanying live show. So I'm my 20-year plan includes just continuing to play in this kind of space universe of storytelling.
Come on, Capricorn, with the 20-year plan.
Oh yeah,
I love it. 20-year plan. Well, I'm gonna jump on whatever whatever grandma space is available.
Of course.
I can see myself scatting my way through the universe with a superpower. Shabba-ba-da, you did a beep, beep, beep.
Come on.
And I make stars, implode, black holes, the whole thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Black hole grandma.
Yeah, black hole grandma. Indeed. And I'm stepping into my crone self with such swag and such joy and such come on baby. I got something for you. Just I'm excited about this 7th decade and what it can mean for me as a human walking through this world. And you will see me. There's none of that disappearing into the dark night for this chick. Not this Leo.
I love that.
And I'm freed from a lot of the things that used to torture me, like, what are they going to think? What if, grief is kind of sad. You really sure you want to sing about, your personal stuff? And, all that is falling away. And I'm happy about it. I'm happy that I can just be in this moment, and enjoy it without the encumbering thought, the cumbersome apparatus of thought. Let me say that.
Yeah.
It's important to think. I'm not minimizing that, but you can overdo that easily.
Oh yeah.
And talk yourself out of your blessing with a bunch of what ifs. So,
yeah. I love that. And I think it harkens back to what you said your grandmother told you to just be, that you're like, 7th decade, I'm going to do that. And it does feel like I keep hearing that over and over again from different artists, from different thinkers, from different spiritual workers, that like, there's so much to do in this time, to do together in this time, but all of it is done by just being, like, really being awake and connected to yourself and feeling and processing and all of that. And it's counter to how many of us are developed. So many of us are like, if I can just figure it out in my mind and then execute it from here, it's going to be great. And I think that the work of the artist is to bring people back into the body, the full body chill, the goosebumps up the back of the spine, and the sense of, oh, we weren't together a second ago and now we are.
Yes.
And it felt like we were alone a second ago, but now we're surrounded, and all of those things. So I'm grateful because that's what both of your art does for me and does here in Durham and does for the world. And I'm excited for all the next nominations and wins and all the things that will fall out of that, because I do believe that when you are being and you shine fully, brightly like that, then it's like, oh, that's the medicine we need. Let's accolade it. All right. We love y'all. Thank you so much for joining us today. We love you.
Thank you. Love you.
Pierce, Nnenna, y'all are friends of the pod. And we're going to do our credits now, but we're going to stay.
I'm so grateful to have finally officially met both of you. I already just feel like you are family. I can't wait to meet you and hug you both in person someday.
And eat some of Nnenna's food.
Me too. Woo! I can't wait.
Eat together.
Multi-talented, mostly as a chef.
Of course. Not even a little bit surprised to hear that.
Oh my God, that's still one of the best meals. Okay.
Thanks for listening to our show. We're on Instagram at End of the World PC.
You can make a sustaining donation to our show by visiting our page at patreon.com/endoftheworldshow. If you become a patron, or you're one already, you get our show inside a show, Top Culture, every Monday after we release a new Friday episode.
Another incredible thing you can do to help our show sustain itself is to write us a review on Apple Podcasts if you're an iPhone person. This helps people looking for good new content to find us. Thank you.
How to Survive the End of the World is produced and edited by the sweet daddy, Zach Rosen. Transcripts are in our show notes and on our website at endoftheworldshow.org. And special thanks to Samira Abdurrahman for the coordination behind the scenes.
Music for today's show comes from Autumn, the band.
The band. We love y'all. Stay safe, stay warm.